I'm about to go live soon.
Hello.
Good morning.
Been live.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, somebody got some background TV going. Hey, let's share. Let's get some people on here, y'all. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. It is hump day. And welcome to our Access Denied show. We're Nashville Propel with parent-led, parent-organized. We're on a mission to organize and develop parents into powerful parent leaders to ignite a movement that demands educational policies and practices in Nashville public education. So welcome to our Access Denied show. Today, we've got some powerful parents on our show. We got Mr. John Little, we got Torbis, we got Yadira, and I think we'll have another parent who's going to join
Miss Monique.
Miss Monique is going to join us. I'm going to just talk about some of the relevant things that are going on. Nashville Propel is a nonpartisan organization, but we just want to shout out all of the elected officials who ran in the elections yesterday. Congratulations to you all. I hope is that all children receive quality education and that everyone works together to ensure that. So, John, you want to talk about what we're going to talk about today, or let's introduce our guests. Like, let's let them play something.
Yes. So one of the parents that I had the pleasure to be on a one-on-one call with several months ago, Miss Yadira, who was just on fire, who knew what she deserved, and now has been able to come into our cohort 6. Wanted to bring her on the show today, so I want to introduce Miss Calderon. How you doing, ma'am?
Thank you, everyone. Big hellos. I'm very happy to be joining you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so today we're going to talk about, and it's essentially an extension of what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. We had a really great discussion last week about MAP scores, about how virtual learning is going, and we wanted to switch it up. We wanted to bring real parents on board to talk about the real issues because they have had so much to say. So we want to give them a voice.
We got Mr. Torbis on here. You want to say hello, Torbis?
Good morning, everyone. Another Wednesday, another hump day, another discussion. Ready for it.
Yeah, and those of you who are on with us right now, like this post and share the page. Let's get people on here to listen to this. This great conversation with parents. Real. I always like to say raw, candid. Like we just gonna be ourselves. And we're gonna talk about some stuff. We're gonna chop it up a little bit and tell the truth. Tell the truth Wednesdays.
Come on now.
Tell the truth Wednesday.
But yeah. So this is a beautiful day. We're in November. School year is starting to wind down. We got the Thanksgiving holiday. December, we will go half of the time, and then we'll have Christmas break. But, as we stay in this virtual for our middle schoolers and high schoolers, it is interesting. We see Ms. Stewart just logged in, talking about cohort 5 in the building. How are you doing, ma'am? Training powerful parent leaders. These are the conversations we want to have. And so I want to pass it to Torbis to really talk about how he met Ms. Calderon, and then we'll just get right into the discussion because this is important.
Yes, I met Miss Calderon. She was on Facebook, and she had a lot of conversation things going on. We was talking about the virtual school from Florida, and it just so happened she came from Florida. She had been through the virtual school in Florida, and she knew a lot about it. She told me a lot of things about the virtual learning, and with her child, she was also talking about the needs of what she needed for her child that she wasn't getting. So she actually had wrote letters to a school board in Florida. She's done a lot of different steps that she's taken on herself. So my conversation with her was, well, there's other people here like you. Would you like to come in and be part of Propel and help us fight for our children? And she's like, yeah, she wanted to do that. So that's how we met, and she's been on fire since then. I'm glad she's in the cohort 6 now. She's learning more and more information, and she'd be a powerful parent to let other parents know of different things that Propel is offering, what we're doing, and what we're doing together. She said you are, but she's part of the movement as well. So
Yes.
it's we all together, Miss Caldron. And I'll
Yes.
go take it from there.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and thank you for being with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you from. Tell us a little bit about how many children you have, and then tell us about what excites you the most about Nashville Propel.
Well, thank you again being here and to become a part of a support group that is really doing something where they show care and respect and giving ownership to the parents when it comes to becoming informed and making the right decisions to move their children forward in the school system. I am from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised there. I've lived in 6 countries. I speak 4 languages. I have a master's degree. I am a jack of all trades, master of none. And I have, yes, I have one daughter, my present at 40 years old. She's half Greek, half Puerto Rican, and she is incredible. And what we have gone through with her upon the diagnosis of autism at 3 years old, and the decisions I've made to be a parent, to be a guide for her, is what guides me. So we came to Nashville almost 2.5 years ago. We were in Florida for 6 years. And Florida, when it comes to academics, oh my goodness, just like that big slap on the face. Why do parents who have a child with an IEP, why do they have to fight so much for the services that should be obvious and should be provided? I filed through guidance from great people that I met and interacted with. I realized that just by talking to the teacher, that was not enough. I immediately started sending emails. Why are emails important? Because emails become legal proof.
Come
Emails
on and
are
teach, Dara. Come on and teach, girl. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Emails are legal documents. So that's why parents cannot be afraid to write down that email. And one thing I've learned the most, parents, you cannot be emotional. You have to present facts. So you figure out, ask what is happening, put it in an email, you copy the teacher, the EE specialist, you copy the assistant principal, the principal, and above all, you find the emails for the people on the board. And if you have to copy the director of schools, you do so as well. So that's what I learned 6 years ago in order to get services approved for my daughter, because the process of denial, it was just outrageous. Okay. But in many instances, I also had to end up filing complaints at the state level because the district, Pinellas County, was not doing a thing about it. So I ended up filing 11 state complaints in order to get my daughter to receive some of the services that she needed. And once I filed for due process. So I arrived in Nashville with all of this experience, my daughter in a better academic positioning. Why? Because the thing I've learned the most, I don't remember who told me this, but there's a key word here for parents. Our kids need to be taught how to learn. Our kids cannot just be told they're going to reach their goal 4 out of 5 times, which is the favorite writing in an IEP goal. But the need to explain how they are going to reach that goal. What is our child going to be taught that will address the diagnosis and will address the challenges in order to let our child know, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can learn. So we come from all of that. And my child now, the result of all the complaints, due process, my child received the evaluation she needed in order to confirm she had dyslexia. The school system in Florida, the districts do not provide the correct academic, the correct teaching, multisensory methodology in order to help a child with dyslexia So we had to end up paying a tutor that we found for 1 year. My child in 3rd grade was reading at the early 1st grade level. After the tutor for 1 year, my daughter was reading at the 3rd grade level along with her peers. So parents, one more time, there's no doubt we need to ask from the system what is needed. Number one, we need to understand that an IEP means money to the school and to the district. But also, after doing all of that, if you're not getting the response, if you can work with your family to get the support you need and find someone else who could help you and help your child move forward, please do so. Because yes,
And Ms.
in the
Keller,
meantime,
I want to come back to that because I think you're giving some good nuggets. I want to highlight just really quickly. I see Miss Monique. She's visiting the smoothie place, but she's also a parent. And thank you for coming in, Monique. Can you hear us? And as we wait for Monique to really tune in, and again,
can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
First of all, wait a minute, before Monique gets started. Nashville,
Awesome.
we coming, y'all.
Yes.
We coming. We coming. We developing powerful parent leaders. And so I'm gonna mute my mic. I'm over here shouting. The vision will come to pass. Oh, I see a vision where we have a world-class education system, and it will be led by parents. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. And it can be done. And we have a lot of work to do. There's no doubt about it, but it can be done and it must be done.
That's right. Come on, Monique. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
And as Monique is coming in, I'll tell you just briefly. I remember Monique. We went to elementary school together, and listening to a one-on-one with her and Shanka, listening to her child's story where her child started at.
See me, the sunlight's in my face.
I think, Monique, you have a delay in your internet. So if you want to move to a different spot.
I'm trying to get my morning smoothie while I talk to you.
Yeah, I think your internet is delayed. John, can you text her and let her know?
And I'll do that.
While you're doing that, let me say our parents. We've got Letitia. We've got welcome Olivia. Hey, Victoria. We've got Gary, Chris on here. We've got who else? Kimberly White, Keely Simone, Candace. I ain't never seen Candace before. Hey, Candace. Nance, Dominique. Who else we got on here? Can y'all see anybody else?
Let me pull it up. Yeah, and I know you said Miss Nancy. We got Miss Vaughn. And yep, we got Dominique, who is the first and foremost, who is turning into a powerful parent, a grandmother with an attitude. And that's who I got on here, Sonia.
Okay. So go ahead, John. We done got through all the technical difficulties. Let me shout out our parents.
Yep. So, the internet is undefeated. But Torvis, how has your week been going? As you've been talking to parents this week, if you've been working with, your child, how has your week been going for education and for school?
My week's been going. It's been going fine. My child's finally getting this math after a lot of hard work of understanding it and getting the things that she needs. A lot of issues been going on this week was really about everybody was so focused on the election, but then at the end of that, everybody was still talking about, but we still got to get this education right. So the question was, with the people that's in the election for the president, what are they gonna do for education? So there's been a conversation that's been going on and on Facebook. But when it all comes back around to it, it's still going to be the parents that's going to have to speak up and make sure that we get whatever we're trying to get. It's got to come from the parents. So making phone calls this week, talking to parents. Parents are still fired up, still united, still ready to make this thing right for the school system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll jump into that. And one thing that I apologize for last week, Kimberly White was on fire, and I didn't recognize her as cohort 6, and I want to put some respect on her name. because she was so powerful, and then just realizing like that's the Kimberly White in the fellowship cohort 6 along with you, dear. So thank you, Kimberly White. I just had to acknowledge you and put some respect on your name along with you, dear.
Hey, Kimberly. So, John, you want to? Are we ready to jump into our topic?
I think
here?
let's jump right into it. I mean, it's a topic that we continue from last week. There was a lot that we learned a lot. But before we jump into it, Sonia, if you can just briefly talk about your interaction after we heard. I think we may have heard from Kenesha Burke and Kimberly, who didn't get their MAP scores, or they had children at Thurgood Marshall. But can you just highlight your conversation with the principal or the administrator from Thurgood Marshall last week? I wish I would have recorded it because it was a magical moment of just having real power from parents.
Yeah. So, guys, as you're commenting and you're talking about your stories and what you're going through, what I noticed last week was a trend. And the trend was at Thurgood Marshall, where there were, I think, up to 3 parents who did not have their MAP assessment scores. And I always say anything more than 2 is a trend. Like 2 or more, anything is a trend. That's a problem. And so when we logged off, I called the school, and I talked to, I got it on my notes. I talked to one of the principals there and asked them. I told them, hey, we had our access denied show. And there were several parents who said that they had not received their MAP assessment scores. And I asked, when was the school going to release them? Because they belong to the parents. The parents need to know where their children are. And so the principal went on to tell me that that they had them electronically and they hadn't sent them out to the schools, and he needed to check on it. And I asked him, yeah, you need to check on it because other people are getting theirs. Like, why are you guys not sending them out to parents? And demanded that he get them out to the parents, or I would escalate it. So I don't know. I probably told the story a little bit nicer than, I think I was nice and polite, but I was very firm. So I don't know if John's very good with elaborating.
Yeah. So listening to it, what I heard is you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that parents at that school were not being served right. And you were nice, but you really demanded and you held him accountable. And when he spoke, you repeated what he said that he said he was going to do. And I just think, as we think about Freedom Fridays when we were going to the schools and now we're virtual, I think that was a Freedom Friday moment to really hear from multiple parents who were not getting served and actually doing something about it. A lot of times in the morning, I listen to 101 and it's like you hear nephew Tommy do the prank call, but this was reality. You talk to him, and we talked about the navigator because some parents said that they wasn't getting navigator calls, and he got the stuttering because he knew they were not doing right by kids at that moment. And so that was powerful. I just wish I could have recorded it because it just goes to show you how much power we have. And when we demand that they do right by our kids, they have no choice but to do right by our kids.
Yeah, and he was stuttering. He was stuttering because he was wrong. He was wrong, and he got caught. And he's supposed to know. He's supposed to know as a principal where MAP assessment scores are and whether or not they've been distributed to the rightful owners of that information. And so, he was a little stumped, but I think he got the message because several of those parents were able to get what they needed. But it was about us coming together. And so, you got a movement of parents that are calling you. It wasn't about me calling. It was about there's a whole movement, and we'll show up at Thurgood Marshall if we have to. And we'll get the MAP assessment scores. Either you can give it to us like you need to, or we'll come get them.
Yep. And I'll go back and your dear, I want to hear from you, but just want to put this out there. And so any other parents, I think that was really helpful last week to hear directly from parents. Any other parents that are having issues with getting the MAP scores or are not getting those navigator calls, like please chime in and let us know, because again, what Sonia said, that's the power to not think they're not getting it, but to know from direct parents that they're not, it really helps us. And so please chime in, let us know in the comments. But Yadira, what is keeping you up at night right now? Like what are some of the things in your household with your grandchildren that are keeping you up?
You know, right now, my daughter does not have the appropriate math skills that will permit her to have quality of life. And my issue with the district, Metro Nashville, that I had, because since it has partially been solved, was that during this first quarter, school year 2020-2021, from the beginning, I asked about PLT, personalized learning time. And the explanations I received was like, no students at Oliver Middle are getting PLT. And I was dismissed. So 2 weeks before the quarter ends, that's when I sent my email. And I said, once again, no emotions. I presented the facts. I sent an email on such and such a date. This is the response I got. I sent an email on such and such a date. This is the response I got. But the key point here is I copied everyone in the school, everyone on the board, and the director of schools. For some reason, my email reached the right hands, and I immediately received a phone call from the principal, who immediately told me, please forgive us. It is our mistake. We are in the wrong. You will receive compensatory services. What are compensatory services? It is the actions by the district when they realize they have made a major mistake in the IEP. Remember, the IEP is a legal document. Remember, the IEP means money. So in order for them to avoid me escalating, I'm filing a complaint at the state level. Okay, the red carpet was placed in front of us, and immediately a meeting was set up. Compensatory services. What will my daughter get? My daughter will get 2 hours per week, separate from classes, separate from PLT. She will have a one-on-one virtual tutor working with her on math. Is this enough? No, I know that, but it is a great result to the whole process of being an empowered parent and finding solutions with what the system provides. Now that I am involved with the wonderful work you are doing, now I know that I have extra voices that are more than ready to root for me, root for my daughter, and help me keep finding answers. So that's why this is the importance of the work you guys are doing, because
Hold
it
on,
will give us.
the work we're doing. Words matter. The work we're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And we all are doing this together. And we are willing, we are ready to commit to taking the necessary steps so our children will receive the adequate and appropriate academic supports per federal law, per faith, least restricted environment, which is what our kids need. Is the system perfect? No. But organizations like ours, Nashville Propel, will definitely lead parents in the right direction in order to understand that we are active participants in the process and that nothing will happen if we do not do something about it.
Yes,
Come
ma'am.
on now. We're building a movement. We're building a movement.
Yep. And Monique, just want to test you out. How you sounding over there, Monique?
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah.
It's coming through. It's coming through. You're about 75% there. The internet is undefeated. That's what I do know.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's still getting you, Monique.
Especially in Antioch. Sorry.
Yep.
The digital divide is real.
The digital divide is real. So yeah, I mean, let's jump right into it. I mean, again, we were asking have people got their MAP scores. We're asking what's going on in education right now, because I think we need to understand how our kids are doing. You know, we got the report out when they got their grades. Some parents were excited, some parents were disappointed, but we just want to get to the heart of making our school system better.
So,
And
I mean, let's
I
talk a
haven't
little bit.
received my daughter's MAP scores in 2 years.
What school is that? Do we need to make a phone call? What school is that?
I think
John
what I
Early.
remember from the
That's what
one-on-one, her daughter
and she has
attends
yet
the
to
school.
receive
in
anything else either.
What
Yep.
school is it?
I think it's John Early.
Oh, do you have anybody else on here?
John Early.
Okay. I mean, John, just let me know. You know, I can call him real quick.
Yep. But yeah, go right into it, Sonya. I see Miss Dr. Burke says a lot of parents skip the booklet and don't know their rights. I have written my son's IEP since kindergarten, pretty much, which is the power of a parent. It's almost like you can't walk in there not knowing what you need to see, because if you don't know what you deserve, they're gonna just give you any old thing.
Yes. And I want to also speak to the parents that don't have children with the IEP, okay? Because there's a lot of children who are just struggling, and it's because of the criminal action of not giving them what they need from the beginning. So, I want to also make sure that parents who have children who are just struggling, they may not have, fall into this, category of having a disability that the federal government and the state classify as a disability. There are children who are still like not getting what they need, and it should, and they don't fall within the guidelines of federal law, and I think that that's criminal. Because they're struggling and they need to get what they need to get. So let's talk about these MAP assessment scores, because this is important. And so, let's talk about what these MAP scores are about. And the reason why I think that we really need to talk about this, because our campaign right now is that all children are assessed, that an individualized plan and not an IEP. So an IEP can fall within an individualized plan. Let's put this a different way. Let's put this into, let's say your child has a fever. First thing we do is we take their temperature. But as parents, we don't know what's causing the fever. And so what we do is we take them to our pediatrician, and the pediatrician takes the temperature again, confirms that there's a temperature. Then they begin to do an assessment of systems. So they'll start looking in their ears. They'll look in their throat. They start to feel on their belly. They listen to their lungs, because they're assessing the child to identify where the issue is coming from, because a fever is a sign of something is going on. It's the body's way of saying, I'm fighting something. Okay? I'm fighting something. A lot of people think that a fever is always bad. A fever says that the body is fighting something. And so then they do their assessment, and then they begin to run tests, don't they? So they start swabbing for cultures. They start doing chest x-rays. They'll x-ray the belly to diagnose the issue, the root cause. What is causing the body to have a fever? Then once they figure out where the fever is coming from, they begin to treat it, to recover your child, to treat your child. They put a plan together and they say, you give this antibiotic 3 times a day. Make sure you're giving them additional water, and make sure we follow up in 5 days to make sure that the treatment plan that we have put in place is actually addressing the issue, recovering your child to get them to the best possible help. That is what we're talking about. So a MAP assessment should be an assessment of progress. How is your child doing in school, in reading, in math, and other subjects? And so it measures their growth. It measures from the starting point as to how they're doing now. And that should be used in conjunction with data and also other assessments. Like a MAP assessment does not tell you everything that's going on with your child. It is a piece of data, just like an X-ray or just like a culture. Sometimes those things have to be done in conjunction together. So that is a MAP assessment. And so I hope that that helps our families to understand why an assessment needs to be done for your child.
Well, we're going to take it a step further, Sonia. Speaking of the medical field, when I was in at the doctor's office, it's you have medical records, and you have going to these medical records. Everything is collected into your medical records. So if you go to a doctor and they refer you out, the information comes back in electronically into this record. And like the conversation we had with Brooke Allen, it should be some type of way that these records are kept into a system where everybody can see these records when it's dealing with their child. Because so many times it's like information's over here, I hadn't got the information. So if we're looking at it into the medical sense, all this information should be in the chart. It should be followed where you got the follow-ups. You get a referral, you got to go follow up and come back. So just taking it a step further as far as keeping all the information together so you can properly assess this child and have all the information you need to take care of these kids and their IEPs. Now, when we are here talking about different things, different issues going on, I had a conversation with a college one time, and we was talking about the speaker series to Sandra Dobbs. And we was going through the information. She was like, it's great information Ms. Dobbs giving out. And Ms. Cauldron, she kind of so excited because she had a IEP meeting. And
Wow.
I'm going to tell you what happened at the IEP meeting.
There's something that's getting some feedback. But I mean, that's correct. That's correct. So we're talking about an ILP right now. An ILP is the plan to address children who are not having an IEP and children who have an IEP. So we're just call it right now, your child's roadmap to success. And for a MAP assessment to be included in there, we have Monique who in 2 years who has not seen where her child is. So she has no clue as to where her child is and the progress that her child is making. And so a MAP assessment should provide a piece of data for her to know in conjunction to other things that should be going on with the child. And that MAP data is a comparison to that child's peers in that grade. So in the fifth grade, taking a MAP assessment, it should be a comparison as to how your child is doing at that time compared to their peers. Go ahead, Ms. Cauldron. You're on mute. You're muted.
Go. Yes, great comments. So important that we all understand the concept of MAP testing and that data, what it means, and whether there is progress or not. And my important point to emphasize is that whether your child has an IEP or not, knowing MAP test results is extremely important, because if your child is not making progress, the school system is obligated by law to provide remediation. And if the school system is not finding ways to communicate with the parent, first, by providing MAP test results, and second, by creating a plan, which is what Nashville PROPEL proposes, okay, then we need to kick it up a notch. And that's why we are here, and parents need to understand you are not alone, and you need to communicate with the schools. Yes, it's a lot of work as a parent. I could have said, oh my God, I have to send another email again. I have to make another phone. Yes, we have to. We need to call. We need to send those emails. And we cannot be afraid. Oh, like her parents tell me, oh, but I think they're going to retaliate against my child and treat my child badly. They can't by law. They can't. And if something like that happens, then again, there are the steps you can take. The law protects your child. The law protects you as a parent. But we need to start from the basis that we must use the means available. Right now, sending an email, it becomes a legal document. So do that. A phone call is difficult because phone calls are not being recorded. But if nothing moves forward, you must send an email and copy everyone.
Yes, a good point. And we talked about this during our speaker series, if you have a phone call or a text message, ask the school to follow up with you with an email, with the conversation and the actions that are going to be taken. Stop taking people's word. If it's not documented, it never happened. And I promise you, they'll tell you it never happened. They'll talk to you and smile at you and then, say, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. Parents, we have been betrayed for too long. I'll give you an example. I have to give y'all real life examples. You call Sprint about your bill and you get that customer service person on the phone to talk about your $777 bill that you wasn't supposed to have. And you calling them, you like, look here, my bill is $770. What is going on here? And they tell you, well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to take some off of this and have them to follow up with an email. Because old Johnny that you talked to on the phone, if it don't happen, they're going to act like it never happened. And you got to start all over again. So, Yadira, thank you for re-emphasizing. And look, if you don't know how to email, contact us. Contact your organizer so that we can get you the help that you need. We are training our parents, and there are parents out there who don't know how to send an email. And a lot of us take that for granted. So make sure that you contact Nashville Propel. You're not in this by yourself. And we're going to help you to build that power. That's our mission. And Kanisha says, unfortunately, we need a paper trail. You're right. And unfortunately, folk are not educating our children, and folks are protecting themselves. And yes, the school district will send you send you text messages and phone calls because those things are not recorded. And so you got to be up on the game, and you got to demand emails. Emails have saved me. I've been fighting since kindergarten. And when the documentary was written, I was able to send them emails back when my child was in kindergarten and 5th grade for record. So nobody can tell me that I'm lying and I never did it. I got the email, but I got the receipt. Parents, bring the receipts. Bring the receipts.
Yep.
John?
Yeah, and so as we look at this and Miss White and Dr. Burke, like, this is what it's about. And we just heard Kiasha, who we hope to have in our fellowship one day, as she talks about Waverly Belmont. She said even at Waverly Belmont, and we didn't have to talk to them before about some other things they were doing with 4th grade kids, but even her, she hasn't received their MAP scores. And the one thing I remember about Miss Thomas's journey is like, she travels all the way in from Antioch because she wanted her child to be at a better school than she was on to. And so she goes out of her way. And one thing that she's requesting the MAP scores, which is a problem.
Have you sent an email or anything, Miss Thomas? Have you reached out already? I think it's time for a phone call.
Yep. And Torbis, what else are you hearing from parents as you're doing one-on-ones with parents like Dira? What are you hearing in the community? What are you hearing from parents?
Well, not only about the getting the MAP scores, some of the parents don't understand how to read the MAP scores. They send all this information out and they're looking at it, and They don't know exactly what they're looking at. And it's been, I guess, over the course of years, you know, they get these map tests all the time, and they can tell you anything. They can tell you your child is doing great, but then when the end of the year come out, your child did terrible. So it was just the fact of understanding what they're reading, what they're looking at, educating the parents. Like we always say, stop leaving the parents behind. Don't just give me, if you go to the doctor, they're not going to just give you a plan of care and say, here you go. They're going to ask you, do you have any questions? You go to the pharmacy, pick up medication, you speak to the pharmacy. Do you have any questions? So it's the same way. If you go give us the information, make sure we understand it and we know what we're looking at.
I think we're going to take that a little further. And so Nashville Propel is planning a training for our parents.
Yep.
To make sure that we're going to bring in subject matter experts to help you guys to learn how to read these MAP scores. You're going to learn what a RIT score is. You're going to know what a tier 1 and tier 2 and interventions and your rights. See, we becoming powerful. Folk don't want you to know. They don't want you to know that information, but we coming. We at MNPS, I approve this message. We come.
And I'll tell y'all, next Tuesday at 5 is the board meeting, and it's public comment. And so it's going to be interesting. Like, pay attention. Like, we need to understand what people are talking about at these meetings. At the last meeting, they talked about the MAP scores. They talked about the navigators who were calling. And just talking to you guys, we realized pretty quickly that everything that glitters is not gold. And a lot of you guys haven't been receiving those services. And so next Tuesday at 5, we're going to be broadcasting the meeting. And this is the meeting we need to pay attention to, because this is how you hold people accountable. We got to do the things that we say we're doing.
And Key Thomas, if you can respond, there were 2 parents that said that they didn't get it. And it is, what time is it right now?
It is. We got about 4 minutes.
We got about 4 minutes, and I can make 2 phone calls in 4 minutes. So if you reply back to me and let me know, have you requested it and how you requested it? And if you want me to, I can go ahead and call live right now. Because I am ready for it. I had some good sleep last night. I've got my Joe here. I'm feeling nice, nasty. I'm not playing with children today.
And Sonia, I would say try it out as we close out with Yadira. Like, while you're calling, Yadira, any last words from you? I know you have come in. You have a lot of experience. You have a lot of knowledge. Next week, if we can get Miss Kimberly White and Dr. Burke on the line too, I think it'd be a really nice meeting as well. And this is what we're going to do. We're just going to highlight parent voices, because what I always say, you guys are so strong by yourself. I would not want to be in a meeting with you guys trying to get over on your kids. And so when they see it's not just Miss Kimberly White, it's not just Kanisha Burke, it's not just Yvonne, it's not just Kiasha, it's not just Yadira, they start to realize this is too much to handle. So they're going to leave the BS out the window. But while Sonya making her call, Yadira, any last words?
Which one y'all want me to call? Wait a minute, which one y'all want me to call? We got Waylon Belmont and John Early. Which one y'all want me to call first?
I'm going to say let's call John Early, because it's been 2 years.
Oh, been 2 years. Okay, let me know. Well, I want them to hear the whole phone call. So let me know when you're ready for me to call.
Okay, as you get them on the phone, we'll finish with Miss Yadira. So while you're calling, as soon as you get them on the phone.
Is this middle school or?
This is middle school.
Middle school. Okay. I want to make sure. Okay.
And a shout out to Miss Dobbs, because the last meeting Yadira had was Miss Dobbs showed up to the child's meeting, and she really
played. I know, respect. She played good cop, and for me as a parent, the validation. She went in. She told school personnel, "You are wrong. This is not acceptable. This child was supposed to be receiving POT, and yes, we're going to do the compensatory services, but this cannot happen again."
Wow.
Hello, hi. My name is Sonia, and I was calling to speak to someone who would be in charge of making sure that parents receive their children MAP assessment scores. On Facebook, Nashville Propel Parents, and I have a parent who says that she has not received her child's MAP assessment scores in 2 whole years. Yeah. So would you be the person that I need to speak to, or is there someone else there that I can speak with that can handle this matter?
Gotcha. And just so I can know, are you representing the parent? Or are you the parent?
Sir, I would like to speak to someone who can answer my question on a broad-based manner. I want to know the process for distributing MAP assessment scores to students.
Gotcha. So I'm asking you exactly: do you have a student that attends here, or are you asking in regards to someone else?
I ain't asking about a specific child. I am speaking on the behalf of parents of Nashville, and I want to know your process. So if you can answer, that'd be great. But if it's someone else that I can speak to, that's who I need to speak with.
Totally understand. So the reason why I'm asking you is because obviously it would be specific right now due to the COVID matter. So I'm just trying to figure out who the right person to direct you to. So if it's a 6th or 7th grade or whatever particular grade, there's a team that I have. So
6th, 7th, 8th, 12th, whoever it is that handles this, I would like to speak with them.
Totally understand. And so again, and who are you, and just in general, who are you representing? So I can know.
The parents of Nashville. So I'm representing whatever grade levels you have at that school. I want to know your process.
Gotcha. So what I'm going to do, I'll just connect you with my dean of students for 7th and 8th grade. She may or may not be able to answer the question, but they all work remotely.
So she wouldn't be able to ask. She wouldn't be able to answer a question about how the MAP assessments are distributed for the grades.
I'm gonna. So what I'll do is I'll give you the email address, and you can actually.
I want to speak to somebody. Is there somebody in the building?
We're on COVID, man, so there's nobody here at the school to speak with.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
works remotely. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This the runaround they give you. They don't know who. They don't know. All of a sudden, they don't know who gonna do what. You looking it up, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And what's your name?
I'm Mr. Travis.
Hey, Mr. Travis. I'm Sonia.
Nice to meet you, Miss Sonia.
Nice to meet you too. How you holding up in COVID?
Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Praise to God. Oh, well, how about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. Who's the principal over there?
Executive principal is Dr. Mason.
William.
Say it again.
William Mason. Is it William Mason?
No.
It's not. Who?
No, ma'am.
What's the first name? What's the whole name?
Dr. Darwin Mason.
Dr. Darwin Mason. Y'all over there FBI and the names, ain't you? You ain't want to give me his whole name.
No, I just figured you might have known that you'd asked. I
No,
didn't know.
that's why I asked you his name. I didn't know it. I don't know. How long has he been over there?
How long has
Dr. Mason. Dr. Darwin Mason.
I'm fairly new, but I believe it's been within the last 4 years, 4 to 5 years potentially.
Oh, okay. Does Eddie still work over there in doing athletics? Edward Williams?
I haven't met a Mr. Williams or Ed Williams. So again, I've only been here since the beginning of this year.
Oh, you knew.
However, that name hasn't come across at all in any of my
Where'd you come from?
contacts.
Where'd you come from?
I actually come from a whole other industry, so I'm new to metro schools as far as working for metro schools, but I come from a different background.
Okay, welcome to Metro Schools.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Are you with metro schools yourself?
No, I'm not. I do not work for Metro Schools. I work for the parents and grandparents of this city. I work with an organization, a movement, Nashville PROPEL. We are parents requiring our public education system to lead. So we represent parents and grandparents and children from our most struggling communities. And so right now I've got a parent saying that she has not received her MAP assessment scores in 2 years. So what we want to do is work with the school to see how we can make sure that she gets her MAP assessment score. And what we want to do is see what the process is, so that we can communicate that out to our parents. And in partnership, make sure that those scores are distributed, because if that's happening to her, we want to make sure it's not happening to multiple parents. So we want to work with the school, and make the school aware, right? I'm sure that Dr. Mason, wants to make sure that everybody gets their scores.
Absolutely. And I think the other side of it is, just from what it is that I'm learning, is make sure these parents are also plugged in 100% with all atmospheres. I do know for a fact the parent portal is a big part of that opportunity for parents to be able to contact and see not only just assessment tests, but also progress reports, report cards, attendance, everything they ask about after the fact when they're finally getting those truancy letters or they're getting notifications. But that's also a way for them to update all their information as well. So there's also a part of the parents must play as well. So let me actually do what Dr. Mellon, what I do.
Yeah, I mean, but we can't assume that parents didn't play their part.
No, we're not.
I just want to make sure. I want to make sure we clear on that.
Situation and whatnot with COVID, it is definitely interesting. Like I said, it's kind of tough. And I'm in a bind. Like I said, being a student from metro schools and seeing it one side, and obviously the progressions I've been able to make in life, not where I would like to be, but of course what I've been able to accomplish. I totally get it. So I understand the parents, because my parents were metro school parents, and I was a student of metro schools. So the other side of it is, like I said, there's a road on both ends. And with COVID right now, I see that it's even a bigger struggle. And it sucks because, of course, you want the help of all of our students. And that's the biggest part right now. But the same for parents that were probably already struggling, especially those that are not competent right now to be able to help their students, just because of just what we are as a community with technology. And I think the struggle with that, of course, is really challenging overall.
Yeah, so I think it's great that we connect and find out what the process is. We need to find out how the parents can access, and maybe it's not clearly communicated that if that's their expectation that parents just access the portal, then we have to make sure parents know. And so I think I have a parent that cares deeply about her child, and I want to make sure that understanding is we represent parents. So I want to make sure that parents who care about their children know what to do, and that is communicated. So I really appreciate the help. Who are you connecting me with? Because I need to go, and I want to make sure I connect with this person and get this information out.
I totally understand. So this conversation we've been able to have, I got a little more clarity to what it is. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get you Dr. Mason's his email address, and then from there you can of course disperse, and I'll also get you my dean of instruction.
Okay, and what's your position? What's your position?
I'm a secretary.
Oh, you're secretary. Okay. I can call you anytime.
You can anytime, yes, ma'am. And if you're ready, I can go ahead and get that.
I'm ready.
To you.
I'm ready. Yeah. Y'all ready?
DAR. WIN. Darwin. Period. Mason Jr. MASONJR. At mnps.org. Again, that is the executive principal here. And if it's something regarding a student that needs something, or a parent right now, that's the reason why I was trying to figure out if you were representing the parent specifically or a student that I could probably pull up real quick. But what I can also, I'll give you our dean of instruction. And so if it's a case scenario where there's a specific parent that we need to connect with on a deeper level, then of course that's something that we will, of course, definitely delve into. We definitely love doing that.
Yeah, I want to make sure we're into developing the parent's power. So I want to make sure that I connect the parent to whom they need to connect with. I don't want to violate any FERPA or anything like that where I'm in their parent, the parent's record. So I wanted to make sure that we have direct contact.
And that's the reason why I was inquiring about who you were and what the parent was, so I can at least pull up and verify. And of course, if that's the case, it's simply just a phone call to confirm what it is needing, especially right now with COVID, especially this position that we're in. Right now, we're connecting with parents need to connect directly with the teacher. Like I said, they have by all means a way to connect. We, of course, just have our PTA where they receive that information. It's also just make sure that the other information is up to date, such as her contact information and what she may have inside of her parent portal, aka the Infinite Campus, which is, of course, the digital platform that we, of course, have all profiles for all students.
Okay.
So that's why I was inquiring, trying to figure out more of that information so we know if it's a specific individual. I understand you want to do it on a larger, broader basis, but if there's a specific individual, then, of course, we want to make sure we connect with them immediately, so therefore we're not slowing her down while you're learning all the other information that you're trying to gain.
All right.
That was all.
Thank you so much, Travis. I'm going to have the parent call you. And you're saying that you can actually pull up those assessments or help guide her through.
I can help guide her through directly where she should, or connect her directly with. So therefore, we can go ahead and jump on the ball and figure out there's other areas where there's a disconnect in general.
Okay.
That's what I care about the most for that specific parent.
Well, do me a favor. Do me a favor. I'm going to have her call you. I want you to take care of her. And I want to make sure that you take care of her and help her to find what she needs. And I want you to take down my number. And if you could follow up with me after you speak with the parent. And I want to make sure that I stay connected with you also. As you're new to MNPS, with building relationships with schools, I would love when this COVID thing goes away to come over and visit the school, get to know the executive principal and the staff there. So my name is Sonia. And my number is 615-509-1916. And I am the executive director for Nashville PROPEL. And we represent thousands of parents across this city from our most struggling communities, particularly families that are zoned to or live in areas where there are low performing schools.
Absolutely. So the contact I've given you, of course, is directly Dr. Mason. He's going to be the wealth of information and, of course, connect you directly. Obviously, I'm just the middleman to the individual overall, though. So obviously, whatever you need that I can do, I definitely will always be helpful. But if you go ahead and communicate what you're needing directly for Dr. Mason, as far as what you're saying on a general, broader basis, he could definitely be more of assistance with that. But yeah, have that parent give me a call specifically. Okay. And I'm here today until 2:00.
Okay, Travis.
And I can go ahead and start working on her process or her situation immediately. Okay.
Thank you, Travis. You have a good day. Okay.
Do the same.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye. All right, y'all. So we're going to help that parent to get her MAP score. See, that was a secretary. Secretary can only do so much. You need to talk to the people who can make the decisions. That's who you need to talk to. And so Travis couldn't make no decisions. But Travis, bless his heart, he's willing to help. And I appreciate that. So Monique, we're going to get your MAP assessment scores. And then we're going to email the executive principal and probably set up a call with this executive principal to build relationships with that school and discuss some of the issues that are happening in that community and hopefully building partnerships with John Early. So I hope that helped. The example, it didn't go the way that it did the other day because that principal went left with me, but Travis was really nice and helpful. And I hope that helped you guys to understand your power too, right? That you can call and get what you need to get from the school. And I want you also to see the gaps. Like, did nobody know you can go to Infinite Campus and get no map? I ain't heard nobody say that. I ain't heard nobody district. I ain't heard, and I bet if you look in there, they ain't even in there. But that is the way he's saying that you can identify those map assessment scores. So I hope that helped. There was a Waverly Belmont parent. If our organizer can reach out to that parent, Key Thomas, and let me get on three-way with her, and let's help Key to get her her map assessments. Anybody else out there, make sure you guys are getting. Kimberly said he's annoyed with you. Girl, I don't even care. I don't even care about nobody getting it. They come to children, anybody can get it. Anybody, I don't care where they at, they gonna get it. I wasn't trying to annoy him, but that is the game, like they don't understand your freaking question. I want to know, I want to talk to somebody who can tell me the process for getting the children's map assessment score to your school. Like, why the hell does nobody understand that question? It's always, I said what I said, I asked what I asked. That's what I want to know, the process. I didn't ask you for nobody's map assessment. That's a FERPA violation. I ain't crazy. But I want to know your process at your school. And what that tells me is, well, number one, he didn't know the process. So that's why he's going around the circle. So you got to be precise. It ain't you. I want to talk to the person that knows. Thank you. Hope that helps.
I mean, it had to help. I think at that instance, we realized, like you said, the power we have. And it's just time out. Like, it ain't about a specific student. Like, we're not looking to help us. We're looking to help everybody should have it, and they shouldn't have to ask for it. And so, no, we don't want to talk about a specific parent. We want to say, how do you make sure everyone has a MAP assessment? So, especially in the digital world.
Yeah, Kimberly says that the parent portal don't work half of the time, and most teachers don't use it. That is the feedback that we need. Okay. So Thursday night during our fellowship, guys, if we can make an assessment of the parents who are using their Infinite Campus, maybe we need to dig deep and see what's in Infinite Campus, what's there, and communicate that to Dr. Battle. If teachers are not using it, then the way that the school system is flawed is they have policies and then they have standard operating practices in the school level. So each school is not the same. So when they come with that bull about this is how we operate, that's bull crap, because not all schools operating the same. And that is a big flaw gap that I think once we want to communicate that to Dr. Battle.
And COVID-19, I think you're saying COVID-19, well, we operate this COVID-19. You took the test during COVID-19, so we need to get the results during COVID-19. That's not an excuse. You took the test, these people want their results. So we should be able to get the results without all of this, all over the place.
Look, the problem is innovation. The problem is leadership. And so what I'm saying is, with a new director of schools, she has an opportunity to show some bold leadership. And so maybe these are things that she didn't know, right? Maybe these are things that previous director of schools did not address. And so what I'm saying to parents is, we need to know the issues that you're having. So as a collective unit, as Nashville Propel, we have direct access to, or ways to get in touch. Now, the communication sometimes gets muddy, but we're working on that. So either they gonna provide us with a liaison, or we could just talk to them in other different ways that they probably don't feel as comfortable. But we need you guys to communicate those things to us. I know we're getting ready to close out. I want to thank the parents that joined us. We went over a little bit, but I think it was important to make that phone call to the school so you can see the runaround you get. Like, that could have ended up in 17 different phone calls to people. And the system is set up to frustrate you. Okay. But you can't let it frustrate. You got to be relentless. I wasn't mean to him, but I was relentless. Like, dude,
it ain't personal.
Yeah, it ain't personal. Like, I'm asking you a question you don't know. I don't want to talk to you. I want to, how you doing? Welcome to the school system. I want to talk to the person that can give me what I need. In some schools, you don't have to go through that hassle, right? I mean, I know I can call Hunters Lane and I'll get directly to who I need to talk to. I know I can call Swab and they're going to give me whoever I need to talk to. But some of these schools, we've got to call it out so that it's fixed. But Dr. Battle needs to know what we're doing, what's happening to you guys. And we need to communicate that on a collective level. So thank you. Visit our website, NashvillePropel.org. Like our page, share our page, go onto our Twitter at Nashville Propel, go to our Instagram at Nashville Propel. We got next week, we got our speaker series. We got our access denied. December, we have Dr. Penny Swin here talking about learning loss. That's a huge meeting. It is surrounding our campaign. And she supports our campaign, and we're looking forward to that. So keep your calendars marked, and talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.